Hello, everyone. My name is Robbie. Just as you know, today we're going to explore the terminology of basketball a little more. And without further ado, let's start. I'm going to share my entire screen because otherwise it's going to some serious issues and you're not going to see anything. So, let's begin. So, dribbling. So, dribbling is when you bounce the ball off the court and you can only move when you do it. So you can't, just take the ball in your hands and run around with it. No, that's going to be a traveling violation. Instead, what you do is dribble the ball, like you just throw it on the ground and get it back up. 1, 2, like just bounce the ball off the ground. If you've ever played with the ball, you understand how it goes. You can do it like with one hand or the other, or switch hands. You can't do it with both. Otherwise, that would mean that you have caught the ball, and if you put it down, bounce it off once more, it's going to count as a turnover, and the ball goes to the other team, which leads us to carrying the ball, which is dribbling after the carrier's hand has been placed under the ball. So you can't put your hand like this. Otherwise, you have to pass it. You have to pass it then. And if you don't pass it, that's another turnover for you. And better luck next time. Be more careful. So, yeah, if you dribble after you put your hand like this on the ball goes to the opponent. So what we have next is a double dribble, which is the thing I talked about already. So what that means that means you cause the ball to come to rest in one or both of your hands, like you just hold the ball and then you dribble it again. This is not basketball. This is not basketball. No, I mean this is not like gridiron football. My apologies. This is not gridiron football where you can just run around with the ball in your hands, and you can't just bounce the ball off the court and hope catch it and then do it again. That's not how it works in this game. If you caught the ball, then you're supposed to do something with it, either pass or shoot. So So next thing is the cross-court violation, which is bringing the ball into one's own defensive zone and if attacking. So that's why we have this 8-second rule. So we have this rule after the throw-in, after we concede the ball, after we concede a goal, right? And we have 8 seconds to go to the attacking zone and plan our attack after then and there. So if you just run back to your defensive zone when you're in possession of the ball, that's a turnover. If you really want to have the ball in your backcourt, why not let the other team have it? Goaltending. It's a defensive foul, touching the ball on its downward path after a shot, above or on the rim. That can also mean like punching the ball out of the basket by just putting your hand through it. That's also considered goaltending. And from what I recall, it's considered a technical foul because that's not fair play. And if you can concede such fouls, that basket is going to count whether you like it or not. So what we have is a fumble next. A fumble is next and the loss and subsequent regaining of the ball. So if you accidentally, let's say, dribble on your leg, dribble on your foot, and but you react quick enough to chase the ball down and catch it and restart play, then good for you. You've just fumbled the ball. You've wasted precious time on the court. Like the shot clock is unforgiving. You regain control of the ball and you have to replan the attack all over again because every single defender has taken their positions and by the boom, everything anew, and you have way less time on your hands now. So a free throw, like I've already said, it's a penalty shot after a foul. It's worth 1 point, and the number of penalty shots depends on the value of a shot of your shot when you made it. If you were fouled on while doing a 2 point shot, you get you get two free throws. If you get fouled on while you're doing a 3 pointer, you get three free throws to compensate for that. So a field goal is a shot scored during normal play. It's worth two or 3 points. That's 3x3 basketball, which is a horse of a different color. It's basically street ball, but with its own set of rules. And a field goal is worth 2 or 3 points, depending on which side of the 3 point line you were on. So a double foul, that's where two opponents commit fouls against each other, like this. The referee signals like this. In hockey, that's a penalty shot. That's a completely different story. But we're focusing on basketball here, and if there's a double foul, what happens if there's a double foul? God only knows. I haven't really checked up on the rules. If someone knows the rules better than I do, inform me, because those cases aren't very frequent in basketball. Coach's challenge. It occurs when the coach decides that the referee, in this view, the referee had made the wrong judgment, and they can request a review of the situation. That's why we have the instant replay system, also known as the video assistant referee, like video assistant referee in football circles. But let's not talk about that. So if you do the replay, look at the replay, and see that things might have happened differently than what you saw on what you saw on the court. So basically, if a player, like one case out of like real games, is when it looked like one player kicked the other one from the opposing team, there could have been a technical foul for unsportsmanlike conduct and perhaps even an ejection from the game, which does happen in basketball if you make enough of a mess, basically. And the coach thought, no, that's not what I just saw it differently. And then the video review took place, and it turned out that the player had merely tripped on that, had merely quote unquote tripped on that player. I don't remember the whole story. Maybe the opposing player held on to their leg, but it was rather. You can tell from first rounds. You had to take a look. Take a closer look, which does help. However, if your challenge is not is basically for no reason, you get free throws on yours in your basket. And timeout is interruption of game requested by coach or first assistant coach. It lasts for a minute, and you get two signals. Like if you ever been to a theater, I mean, like Broadway, you know that there are like bells. You know the first bell is, but instead of three bells, there are two. There are two, and the first bell is 50 when you have 10 seconds left during the timeout, and the second ring of the buzzer is okay. Timeout's over. Back to the court, everyone. And coaches may request timeouts for a load of different reasons, but the most popular reason is when the tactics before the game that have been set before the game don't really work, and the team is falling behind or losing a big lead, and the coach needs to assist their players so that so that they don't so that they actually get their act together and come up with new solutions to a growing problem. Come up with something else. Like it's a lot of that's a lot of mental work from the coach's side, as he has inspected like the opposing team's player more closely, and therefore he is in the position to give advice to the players on what to do. And it's also a very good time to bring out substitutions. And yeah, and yes, in the first half, like there are quarters in their halves, and a half consists of two quarters. It's just basic math. I don't really have to teach you that because our focus here is language. But during the first half, a coach is entitled to two timeouts that he or she can, or they or whatever can use. And during the second half, which is generally a more stressful part of the game, a coach is entitled to three timeouts to revise tactics, come up with new solutions to problems. So because people are people, and people come up with new ways to solve problems, like problems. Even if like there's basically fail safe solution to an issue on the court, but even the most fail safe ones eventually fail, and the process starts all over again. And that's why the coach has to introduce new tactics, new approaches, new players to the field, to the court, and see how things play out, because at the end of the day, someone wins and someone loses in this game. Basketball does not have ties. Like not many. Like there isn't that many game. There aren't that many games that actually do have ties. A lot of them just have winners and losers, but ties are not as frequent, but they still do exist. And basketball is not one of those games that have ties. So yeah, everything boils down in overtime. And speaking of personal and team fouls, we're going to touch upon that tomorrow. As for today, thank you for being such a nice audience. I love you very